Right, good morning, everybody. We're here for the first part of two today. Obviously, everyone knows what the main event is, Inoue versus Kim. That'll be on in around about an hour's time, give or take. But we're here for the co-main, Liam, the exciting Jin Sasaki facing Shoki Sakai. Don't know a whole lot about them, but Sasaki's record's definitely something to get you interested in, isn't it? 18-1, 17 wins by knockout. He can clearly bang. I was just watching the highlights package that they put together of him before this. So yeah, looking forward to seeing him. Hopefully we get some good action in this one.
Yeah, look, Sasaki is an exciting talent. I'm not going to pretend for a second that I've watched every single one of his fights, but I have seen some of his highlight reel finishes before today, and he seems to be a fighter that only knows one way to fight. And by that, when we say that to people who don't quite understand, we mean he only has a forward gear. He only goes forward. Even when fights aren't going his way, he backs his power to get him out of trouble. And that's possibly the reason why he's 18-1 as opposed to 18-0, because in that fight he lost. If he changed tactics, he possibly could have found his way to a decision, but he seems to only know a forward gear, doesn't he? Which is, look, at welterweight, at 147, if you can bang, you're going to get opportunities. And that's what Sasaki's trying to get for himself, isn't it?
To be fair, he lost to Hiroka, who's some fighter as well himself. Exactly. To be fair, he's going to go on to do good things. Hi, Luke. I hope you're well, my friend.
Morning, mate.
That you're just as buzzing as us, mate, to finally have some big-time boxing back. I tell you what, this guy's giving it the big one, isn't he? Sasaki on the entrance.
He is. Yeah, I think they've got big plans for him. I think he's literally just linked up with Top Rank as well. So I think there's probably a plan for, Bob wants to get all these Japanese fighters over to America so they can actually break the scene. I think there might be a plan to get Sasaki over as well, which I'm more for Sasaki going over to America because there's big fights to make at 147 that realistically America's the market to do it in.
Yeah,
he's just climbed up onto the turnbuckle as he's got into the ring, as you would normally do in celebration. So we can say shy and retiring, Sasaki.
Yeah, he's only 23, so he's probably got a big ceiling, to be fair.
Mate, it wouldn't surprise me if 147 was his starting point. You see with these young kids that walk through, I mean, Inoue started down at flyweight, didn't he? And he's now up at super bantamweight, talking about moving up to featherweight. Sasaki's end goal could end up being middleweight or, super middleweight, couldn't it? It just depends how he grows into his size and fills out his body over the next 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, 100%. As you say, mate, he's giving it stacks on the entrance. They've not spared any expense there.
Is there anything left for Inoue?
Yeah. Inoue's just going to have a bog standard one. The budget's gone on Jin Sasaki.
Yeah, no Japanese rock band for Inoue this time. But no, the one thing you can say about these Japanese cards is doesn't matter what day of the week they're on, it doesn't matter what the fights are, the production value's top class. And that, like what Bob Arum and Todd DeBuff will have you believe, that comes from the Japanese side. And in Japan, this deal's on Amazon Prime. So that comes from the money they give them as opposed to Top Rank. So they know how to put on a show. I mean, looking at Sasaki here, he's 5'8.5" to make 147 pounds. You can definitely see there's room there for him to move up to 154, possibly 160. But he's still filling out his body. Like at 23 years old, you're not all the old things you're not fully grown. You're still finding your power, etc., etc. So in exciting 3 or 4 years, he looks like he's going to be one of the fighters along with Nakatani to carry the Japanese mantle when Inoue does retire, which we're not retiring Inoue yet, people, don't worry, but he's
yeah. No, to be fair, you've got to be honest, what's going on in Japan at the minute is outstanding. They've got some serious fighters coming through. Obviously Inoue being at the top of the sport, never mind the top of Japan, but like you said, the next crop, your Nakatanis, Hirokas, even Kazuto Ioka's been there for a while as well. Obviously, he was meant to fight Puma Martinez for the second time, wasn't he, on New Year's Eve, but it fell through. There's a serious amount of talent in Japan right now.
I mean, mate, we talk about the British boxing boom that we've had the last 10, if we're realistic, the last 10 years pretty much now. If we're really honest, we've had that, but we have a bit of Brit bias because we watch the sparkling domestic scene as well. What Japan has at the top level and consistently has had now since 2019, if we're being honest, Inoue went mainstream, didn't he, in 2019, realistically?
Yeah. WBSS made him mainstream, didn't it?
Yeah, of course, but before that, he beat Jamie McDonald, the Brit, didn't he? So that got British eyes on him. So they have a tendency to just keep them at the top level and just keep churning them out. And that's the main thing. You go over to Japan, you get from a fighter's point of view, is Paul Butler said after his fight over there, you get looked after, you get paid well, you get respected. It financially makes a lot of sense because you probably get more money in these lower weight classes, going back to Inoue for a minute, fighting in Japan than you would do even as a main event over here in the UK. That's just the reality of how much money is around for the likes of Inoue, Nakatani, etc.
Correct. Definitely. Yeah, Paddy Leonard's in the house. Hope you're well, Paddy. Thanks for tuning in, my friend, as well as Luke. He's back. Sasaki TKO along with Inoue rounds 1 to 4. I completely agree with you on that, mate. That's exactly where I'm at with both fights, 100%. I think Inoue gets it done early, and I think Sasaki will add to his incredible finishing rate of 90-odd%.
All right, we are underway here. Sasaki in the black and white, Sakai in the cream, I'm going to call them, trunks with the brown sides. And as I've said already, Sasaki is on the front foot and he's not looking to take a backward step. He's happy to stay in the pocket.
Yeah, that's what we want. To be fair, we want to see this kind of performance from him for sure.
Yeah, he's looking to make a statement. Look, he's got the WBO Pan Pacific belt, so that'll be a top 15 ranking there already. But he knows he'll need to make statements and take on other top contenders, and that's. I would imagine if Inoue is coming over to America to fight Picasso, then they'll look to get Sasaki on that card.
Yeah, I think so. The Picasso fight doesn't do too much for me, but yeah, I agree with what you say. They'll probably try and showcase a few of the other top-ranked guys. Tell you what, though, Sasaki got caught with the right hand over the top there by Sakai. So he's got to be careful.
Sasaki takes punches. That is the one criticism you can have of him. He will take too many unnecessary shots because where he likes to sit.
One thing about Liam, about Sakai is, and I looked at it when I previewed the fight as well. Yes, he's got a bunch of losses. He's a win-loss kind of fighter. He's never been stopped in 14 defeats. There's a reason he's in there with Sasaki tonight. It's not necessarily because he's probably going to have the ambition to beat him. It's to try and give him some rounds, at least. That's my assessment on the fight anyway.
Yeah, mate, I'm with you on that assessment. And it, again, comes back to me thinking that the plans for Sasaki is to step him up with world-level contenders this year. So you need to put him in with someone durable like this, because if he does go to 12 rounds, it will be the first time he's been to 12 rounds. His previous points win was over 8 rounds, I believe. So
that's it.
They need to give him the rounds, because there's potential for him to blow everyone away at world level, but that's not necessarily how it will go if you put him in with, say, a Brian Norman or a Boots Ennis or a Stanios. He's
not ready. He's not ready. And the other side of it is the biggest fight he's had so far against Andy Hiroka, he got stopped. That's his only defeat. And we know Hiroka beat Brozo last time out. He's got a few decent wins and he looks sharp. So there's no disgrace in losing that fight. But, he's not ready for Stanionis and Boots and Brian Norman if he ever fights again. I know he's scheduled to fight on Michaela Meyer and Sandy Ryan's undercard now. I read last night.
Yeah, but mate, again, until that fight actually gets an official announcement rather than a rumored day, I wouldn't be sure who was fighting on the card. I mean, look, as we come to the end of the first round, Sasaki didn't do too much. He's probably seen that he needs to watch that right hand coming over the top, but he looks like he's just finding his gears here.
Yeah, not a great deal of ambition as there been from Sakai in the first round, and that's probably me putting it politely.
Being diplomatic, Sam.
Being diplomatic, but at the same time, like I said earlier, that is exactly why he's here. He's not here to win. He's not here to put a dent in one of the biggest prospects that they've got. He's here to give him some rounds. Ideally, they probably want this fight going the distance, providing he doesn't go through a war, Sasaki's team, just in order for him to get rounds under his belt. Like you said, he's been the distance, once in his career. One fight in his career has gone the distance. Obviously, he lost his only defeat by knockout. Sorry, I stand corrected. 2 fights. He's had a draw in there as well, over 6 rounds. But yeah, he's only gone to a decision, especially in a winning performance, once.
I think the biggest question for Sasaki is the gas tank, because that defeat he had, yes, he was stopped, but that was a stoppage more based on exhaustion as opposed to the fact that he was iced by a punch. So has he been able to, learn from that, put better cardio in and improve his gas tank if this fight does go the distance? That's what we need to see before he makes a full step up to towards the top ends of the division, isn't it?
Yeah, it's interesting that a lot of that fight is a catch weight against Hiroko at 144, and then he drew a 6 round of 2 fights after that. So I'm not too sure. Maybe there's been a few demons after that. Paddy said, look forward to Boots Stanionis fight in April. I think the announcement went under the radar. But yeah, I completely agree with that.
More excited for this than for Boots.
Yeah, Stanionis is a good fighter, man. And that's legit number 1 versus number 2 at 147. That is for me. Boots and against Stanionis.
Yeah, and even more so, Ring Magazine have put there for what it's worth, lineal championship belt.
Yeah.
That will be for
rightfully so as well. Yeah, definitely. That's for the number 1 status at 147 for me. I think
that is
the winner would beat Brian Norman, in my opinion. Barrios, who knows what's going on with Barrios, but he is the champion at the WBC. But yeah, I completely agree, Paddy. It was probably Turkey doesn't really care about when he times his announcements, does he? We knew Eubank Ben was going to happen anyway. We knew it was going to probably break the internet a little bit when it formally got announced. But yeah, Boots Stanionis, unfortunately for the pair of them, they're not massive draws. That's why it's happening. Some good shots there by Sasaki. Yeah. That's why it's happening in Atlantic City in a very small venue. I'm not too sure why they haven't pushed for that to be in Philly. Maybe Stanionis wanted it to be on more neutral territory. That's the only thing I can think of.
Basketball season, mate, so it wouldn't surprise me if the Wells Fargo Arena is being used for basketball.
Boots has been doing well in Philly, hasn't he, commercially? But yeah, look, again, Stanionis is a PBC fighter. You need to remember as well, he's not a matchroom fighter, and if he wants it to be on a more level ground, then it may make sense because it'll probably be on a Matchroom and DAZN card, I'd imagine.
Yeah, look, I'm excited by the matchup, and as I said when I was doing Straight Talk with Jay last night, I'm excited to see boxing back in Atlantic City. I mean, you look at Andre Ward fought there plenty, Devin Alexander fought Lee Purdy, who's a local fighter to me there about 10 years ago, and as Jay said, before Vegas, the boardwalk in Atlantic City was the Vegas of its time.
Frotch fought many. Did Frotch not fight Ward there?
Frotch Ward was there. Frotch against Jermaine Taylor. Jermaine Taylor was there. As Jay said last night, the boardwalk used to be where all the fights go.
It was there in Vegas, wasn't it?
Trump used his hotel on the boardwalk to get one of Mike Tyson's fights there back in the day. Bidded a shit ton of money and said, "Look, everyone can stay in my casino and hotel for free if you give me the fight." So it's good to see boxing going back to the boardwalk. And yeah, mate, it's legitimately number 1 in the division. Is it a shame it's not in Philly? Potentially a shame it's not in Philly, but perhaps taking Boots away from home comforts is going to do him a favour. He was underwhelming against Karen. Was he potentially feeling...
He was flat against Karen, wasn't he?
Was he potentially feeling the pressure of a home crowd on his back, maybe? So take him away from his home comforts and hopefully we go back to seeing the performances we were before his last fight.
Yeah, I'm with you. Just early going back to this fight, it doesn't look to me so far as Sasaki's put any dent, or he's going to have to settle in soon, I think, for the long run here. I think Sakai is too experienced and he's got too much know-how, unless he catches him with a cracker, because like you said, he faded in the Hiroko fight. There's no point putting yourself through the mill if you don't have to. If you can box him without chasing, and if the finish comes, the finish comes. I'd be interested to see if he adapts his tactics, because he is putting a lot into these shots and he hasn't, really made a dent in Sakai as of yet.
Yes, Sakai is doing kind of what the fighter that's, got many losses in his record should be doing, absorbing the punishment, seeing what his opponent throws
rolling with the punches, isn't it?
Sasaki's expending a lot of energy for very little get back, if that makes sense. He's not exactly putting a dent. It's not like he's got a knockdown. And bearing in mind there's questions over his gas tank, it's interesting to see, what's going to happen if in 3 rounds' time, Sakai lands 2 or 3 uppercuts on the inside there beautifully. He's starting to find his range on the inside, Sakai. Sasaki seems susceptible to leaving his hands a bit too low, and Sakai's got a home for that uppercut, that's for sure. Yeah. And again, 3 more, 4. Sakai making some dents with the uppercuts
here. Better third round.
I'm not saying Sasaki's on his way down, but he's eating too many punches for his own liking here. And again, a cross right hand from Sakai's landed on Sasaki. Good third rounds for the journeyman, shall we say here. Sasaki's needs to fire back here with 90 seconds.
He's loading up so much into every shot. It's like every shot has to be a finisher. Just watch every single shot that he throws. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. That can be a good thing as well. But when you look at some of the biggest punches in the sport.
Uppercut again from Sakai getting through.
Well, when you look at Inoue and Beterbiev and some of the biggest pound for pound punches in the sport, it's kind of effortless. Their power, they don't load up on every single shot. That's how you gas. That's how you get stopped.
Yeah, it is, mate. And from what we've seen so far, you could possibly argue he hasn't learned the lessons from when he was stopped, which was, again, more exhaustion than anything else. But
yeah, agree, Luca.
Sakai's uppercut is finding its home here, and little cheeky right hooks on the inside. Sasaki has no head movement.
No, he doesn't. He's not moving his head at all.
He's leaving his head
on the centre line.
Yes, that's what I was about to say. He's leaving his head on that centre line, and that is just perfect for the uppercut of Sakai to pierce through a pretty meek guard that Sasaki is showing.
I'm just not sure that there's that much spite behind the Sakai punches, but yeah, as Luca's put on the screen, he's definitely having a much better round 3. I didn't realize this was a 12-rounder, actually.
Yeah. The one thing I will say, mate, on Sakai's punches is this, unlike Sasaki, he knows it's a 12-round fight. He doesn't need to be looking to finish the fight now. He just needs to be laying the foundations.
Yeah. Uppercut again. Yeah.
Ooh, Sasaki rocks on the bell. Sasaki rocks by a right hand on the bell, but he's come back forwards, and we end round number 3. That is a Sakai round.
That was a great round, that was.
Sasaki decided to open himself up in the last 20 seconds and was momentarily rocked back onto his heels by a...
That's outrageous, Luca. That is outrageous. But at the end of the day, if Sasaki's as good as we're being told he is, then, that's right. And yeah, I know what you mean. It's not necessarily that Sakai is going to win, but yeah, that's an outrageous...
Here we go. So the replay's coming up, showing some of the work from the round. I mean, they're reflecting on Sasaki, unsurprisingly, showing a body shot he landed.
Yeah.
The work from Sakai there won him the round for me. That was highly impressive.
Well, we got a fight anyway. That's for sure. A lot more of a fight than I was thinking we were going to have.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. This is, as we enter the 4th round, Sakai should have some confidence from the 3rd. Sasaki should be, and he's not, he's just flailing in punches again, should be looking to take his time a bit more, is what I was about to say, but he's not taking his time at all. He rushes in with his head down low. Against another type of fighter, there'll be head clashes and cuts all over the place the way he rushes in with his head. Trading in the middle of the ring here, both men. UFC London tickets have gone on sale 10 o'clock.
They're just ridiculously overpriced, aren't they, UFC tickets?
Mate, the cheapest one in the top tier of the O2 is 169 quid.
It's ridiculous. It clashes with Beterbiev Bivol.
Yeah, it does.
And all the rest of that card. So I won't even watch UFC London. I'll watch it after it finishes.
No, mate, it's March 22nd, not February 22nd, UFC.
Oh, it's March 22nd. Yeah. Oh, right.
So it doesn't clash. Yeah. I was listening to you then, I was like, didn't think
it must be because they're both on the 22nd.
They're both on the 22nd, yeah. But no, mate, we said before, I'd love to go and watch the UFC, but when it is in the UK, it's so overpriced, it's ridiculous. That's one thing you can say about boxing, is boxing on a, more often than not, doesn't price fans out. And you can, even if it is top tier, you can at least still get a ticket if you want for at least 40, 50 quid.
Yeah.
Sasaki's starting to make a bit more of a dent here in this round. Sakai's taking his time when he's taking punches. He's holding on a bit more. Face is starting to show battle marks of someone that's been hit repeatedly.
Yeah, Saki actually trying to move his head a bit more in this round.
He couldn't leave it on that centre line much longer. His corner probably read him the right act at the end of that round.
Caught for a low blow a minute ago. Yeah, really interesting fight this so far. I didn't know what to expect, to be fair. It could have been a 2-round knockover job for Sasaki, but I'm intrigued.
Oh, it's just taken a nice 1-2 again from Sakai.
Oh, man, he's an easy target to find, isn't he?
Yeah, you're not going to have to go look. You're not going to have to go looking for Sasaki if he does make a statement to world level. That's again.
On the flip side, some of them at world, he might just be in one of them frame of minds where he thinks you're just going to take him out, and then he's overlooked him or whatever it is.
I hear that, mate. But if I'm his corner, I'm getting to the point now where I'm telling him to start boxing a bit smarter.
Fix up.
Because although Sakai's left eye is beginning to close and there's a small nick over it, he's a very live dog in this fight, and he showed that again in round 4. I don't give him the round like I did with the third Sakai, but he's very much competitive in this fight and asking questions.
I think he stung him a little bit towards the end of round 4 there. I thought the Sakai stung him a little bit.
Done the same at the end of round 3 with the counter hook he landed. He's in there, mate. I mean, we asked what ambition he's going to have. I'd say he's showing more ambition than I thought.
Yeah, that's well summarised there, Luca. But look, I'm fair play to him for doing that because I'm interested. I'm glad we're watching it because it's making for quite an entertaining fight. That fight beforehand was unbelievable.
Mate, that's the first one I watched.
It was a really good fight, that.
Yeah. Upset as well. The decision went the way
of the I know. It was, Fortnite, I was a bit lucky to get it, to be fair. But I wasn't fully invested in it. I just watched a little bit.
I didn't score it, so I can't break it down and say if I agree with the cards or not. But it was, what you want to be watching when you're having a cup of tea at 9 o'clock on a Friday morning. You can't
violence.
Yeah, bloodlust.
Yeah, I like it, Luca. And Joe Joyce is never in a bad fight either, is he? So yeah, kind of just very entertaining for the fans, not so good for
Joe Joyce opponent announcement early next week by all accounts.
Yeah, which card is it he's on again?
Southampton card, March the 1st. Or Bournemouth.
Ghana. Yeah.
So the same night as Paddy Donovan and Crocker are on the zone.
Yeah, no one's watching that Sky TNT card, are they?
I think it's their last one, mate.
Yeah,
which is a shame. There's some good fights on it. You've got Lewis Edmondson defending his Commonwealth strap for the first time. Joe Joyce is back. You've got Garner, like we say, going for a European title. It's not a bad card, but compared to Crocker and Donovan, it's not going to get the eyeballs.
No, exactly. I guess that's why it's a good thing that Queensbury joined the zone.
Yeah, should be the last time for them two anyway. Between them two anyway, that we see a clash.
Well, yeah, let's hope so, because without disrespecting boxer, Eddie and Frank are putting on the better cards right now.
I was going to have a day off from boxer bashing, mate. I can get started.
I couldn't help it.
Okay.
Sorry, Ben.
Ben, again, we are available to help you with your marketing and events needs. If you just hit us up, we are around. One of us is more desperate than others, but
Right then.
It's settled down more in the 5th round. I mean, Sasaki's eye is closing over rapidly. I would say there's an argument he may be stopped if it keeps closing over at the rate it is.
Yes, Sakai's got busier as well as the rounds have gone on. For me, he's leading the dance. He's flicking out the jab. Sasaki's looking for the big shots, whereas Sakai's just touch, and then land the big uppercut or right arm whenever he can.
Yeah, I also think his corner's probably telling him that with how his eye is, he may not get to go to full 12 rounds, so he needs to invest in his work now, and he's doing that as they're trading, literally foreheads clashing together as they're trading punches.
If he can throw bombs like that consistently for 12 rounds, then he's in
uppercut. And again, Sasaki is rocked at the end of the round for the 2nd or 3rd round in a row here. He's on the ropes. He needs the bell. And the bell comes. Sakai has ended these rounds.
Huge upset on the cards here.
Mate, we talk about, don't we, for judges, it's about sometimes how the last 20 seconds of a round goes. 3 rounds in a row now that Sakai has ended the stronger. The optics, how it looks visually, Sakai looks like the better fight at the end of these rounds. A fantastic scrap.
Yeah, this is madness.
Someone outside agrees with me.
Yeah, someone outside's loving the scrap.
I live on the quietest street in the world. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, scoring the fight, you know, you'd have to have Sakai ahead probably at this point.
3-2 either way, mate.
Yeah.
I think is a fair reflection. I mean, arguably the fifth round, Sasaki had the better of the fifth round until the last 10 seconds. So I think I'd lean towards giving that to him. So I'd have 3-2 to Sasaki at this point. But Sakai looks the... It's difficult to say. It's a very competitive fight, isn't it?
It is. And if we get another 7 rounds fought like this, it's going to be very, very interesting. One sense is that the pace will drop slightly, though. But you never know.
But I wouldn't say it's that. For Sakai, he can keep going at this pace all day long. He isn't exactly overexerting himself. It's more Sasaki's gas tank, which is going to be the question again, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. There's a bit of a look in Sasaki's eye at the minute where he looks uncomfortable.
He hasn't looked comfortable from the first bell because Sakai's come and sat on his chest, hasn't he?
Yeah.
I think it goes without saying if the plan for Sasaki was to move him into a mandatory position for a belt at welterweight this year, he needs to answer a few more questions first.
Yeah, look, I said before, it's probably not ready yet, but, you know, this is...
Oh, Sakai has just missed taking Sasaki's head off with 2 massive hooks there, mate. He's literally just skimmed his forehead.
Paddy's back in the chat. Should have played the overround. Yeah, didn't see this coming, Paddy. To be fair, it's making for a great fight to watch. But look, you've still got a chance with your. You said Sakai TKO. Look, it's sorry, you said Sasaki. My bad. Yeah, definitely still got a chance at it. You know, he's got the power to kind of end it with one shot, hasn't he? But it's not looking the best so far.
I think, and this isn't even just because we possibly watched that montage from Top Rank before this fight, but Sakai was brought in to, you know, take Sasaki rounds, but not be a live dog in there. I think that's not being too disrespectful, and he's given Sasaki a tougher night.
Much tougher, and I think he's been bewildered or he's not expected it. You know, he's not, you know, I don't know if he's come in and took him lightly or not expected to have as much work to do, but there's something that's gone wrong here because it wasn't meant to be this tough for him, was it?
He only knows one way to fight Sasaki, and he's fighting that way, and it's not how you should be fighting against someone as tough and durable as Sakai.
Yeah, it's probably a little bit of exuberance in there. I'll take him out. He's an old man, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, the exuberance of foolishness of youth, we saw it with his ring walk.
Well, there was no expense spared there, but if you're coming in against a 29-14, you know, call him what you want, you know, whether it's a journeyman or whatever it is, he's a win-loss kind of fighter, isn't he, to be fair? or win 2, lose 1. But whatever it is, he's incredibly tough. But you know, if you're at a level that many people are talking that Sasaki is, you know, you have to be dealing with these guys, even if it is an easy decision. He is, Paddy, very, very tough. And Luke says, never even seen such a high land rate of uppercuts from a fight before. I know, it's crazy. He literally can't miss Sakai.
That uppercut, it's there.
If he had more power, this would have been over by now.
Yeah, because he's landed so flush with those uppercuts.
Yeah. If he had Sasaki's power, this would have been done. Well, look, yeah, we're only just over halfway through. Look, there's a lot that can change here. It feels like it's been going a lot longer than half the fight, to be fair. But we're actually only in round number 7. So there's plenty that can change between now and the end. That's for sure.
Yeah, no doubt about it. There's still enough rounds left for Sasaki to get the highlight reel stoppage that people expected him to get. It's not a foregone conclusion. We're not writing that off at all.
It could be 3-3. It could be 4-2 to Sakai. I don't think Sasaki's winning the fight up to now, but
I lean towards 3-3, mate. If I've got
3-3 sounds about right. I haven't really been scoring it, to be honest. You know, my feelings about doing watch-alongs and scoring, it just completely takes me away from watching the fight.
Sam can't multitask people if you.
Nah, I really don't. I just don't like doing it. I don't feel like I get involved in the thrill of the fight while I'm trying to score it. Oh, that was a nice counter left hand there by Sasaki.
And again, he's just half a second off with his timing. Yeah. He's landing with the punches, but they're not connecting at full range, if that makes sense. Just Sakai's able to just dodge out of the way enough to not feel the full effects.
I don't know, like there seems to lunge in a little bit, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
Just past the 200 view mark on this stream, so thanks to everybody for tuning in. Thanks to Luca and Paddy for the interaction and comments. As always, guys, we'll be back for the Inoue fight. Do not worry about that. We've just got this fight as the co-main event that we decided to cover. Obviously, turning out to be a good decision now through 7 rounds. Been very interesting so far. Anybody that hasn't already, please hit the subscribe button. Need 7 subscribers to hit the 1,000 mark, which would be fantastic to get done at some point this weekend. We've got tomorrow, Dalton Smith will do the main 3 fights: Scott Nee, Conor Walker Scarf, and Smith against Weezer. And then we'll do the main 3 fights in Vegas too, Pacheco Nelson, which I'm really looking forward to. I saw the press conference and the face-off, Bomac and team getting involved with Ernesto Mercado as well.
I'm telling you, Nelson is here. Nelson is here for the shock. I've said it all week, and he's
you have to be fair to you. I'm sold now. I'm sold. David Ropedope was saying the same kind of thing as well, and I'm bought in. I am bought into the theory, definitely. I'm looking forward to. Do you know what that card with Tito Mercado against Pedraza, then the Andy Cruz fight, then the main event. They're 3 solid fights. They are. Really are.
I've got a bar shift tomorrow. I'm gonna come in, jump on what's left of the watch along with you boys, and then stay up all the way through. I'll do what I done for the UFC last week. I actually want to stay up all the way through until we get on a watch along.
Yeah, well, I read the main event ring walks at 3:30 for Pacheco Nelson, so it's not going to be a UFC 6 a.m. job or whatever.
Well, this is the beauty of them doing 1 10-hour broadcast. They're starting the American card slightly earlier than they.
Yeah, you saying the Dalton Smith main event's going early?
Dalton Smith, 9:45, 10 is the rumour time.
Yeah, well,
the only caveat to that is there's a 12-rounder on the undercard, which they didn't have in Sheffield when they went for an early main event on the Dixon Harper card. So that may get pushed back a little bit, but it looks like the plan is a half an hour after Dalton Smith and Weezer finishes, they're going to start before the bell in Vegas.
Yeah. Well, look, I'm a fan of it, and I think we're going to get a really big really big year, especially with Queensbury going to DAZN. I think the likes of dual broadcasts and all the rest of it, I think there's a huge potential this year for, well, I mean, look at the cards we've got. So you look at February the 22nd, look at, they finally got this Eubank Bend thing done for April the 26th. You look at the cards in between. March is looking fairly decent as well. You've got that, the Sydney card, Tanks fighting on March the 1st, Crocker Donovan. There's some serious fights to kick off Q1, Q2 of this year.
Yeah, like I said last night with Jay, we pretty much know what we're going to be watching every weekend until the end of March, and April's starting to fill up already. Like, this is uncharted territory for fight sports in general, because we know a lot about it. We obviously cover the UFC as well and PFL, and there's a lot going on over there. But yeah, it's fantastic position to be in. There's not many dull weekends, and the best part is pretty much every weekend is good fights. I mean, domestically next weekend isn't the best, but then you've got Benavidez and Morrell in America and Fulton.
Cannot wait for that.
Figueroa, so you've got,
cannot wait for that.
The only downside is that's a pay-per-view in the UK, that American card.
On Amazon?
Yeah.
Well, that's disappointing. Or Sasaki having a bit of a better round in that 8th, and some bombs. Sakai standing up well to it, to be fair.
Yeah, he is. And going back to the pay-per-view, it was only confirmed that it was going to be a pay-per-view in the UK yesterday. I was hoping it was going to be like Murtazaliev and Tim Tszyu, where it was pay-per-view in America but free to view over here. But unfortunately,
it's not going to do any buys in the UK. That.
I don't get the marketing model. I mean, we'll watch it, we'll cover it because we are big fans, and I actually think Morrell is going to cause an upset. I'll go early on that. I think Morrell's going to stop Benavidez next weekend.
Do you know what? It's going to be very interesting. It is.
Yeah, it's a great fight, and it's not dismissing Benavidez at all. I just have this feeling about David Morrell, and I'll go into more depth on it next week, but I back Morrell for the upset.
Yeah, Morrell's
will be an upset with the bookies, but actually it's probably pretty close to a 50-50 fight, isn't it?
Yeah, look, I watched Morrell against Kaladzic on the Riyadh card, Crawford Madrimov, and I thought he had a few holes in his game, but so did Benavidez against Vosdik. They're both 168ers that have moved up. It's 50, like, it's the edge is to Benavidez, but it really isn't. It really isn't. It's too hard to call. Ryan Hong's in the house. Thanks for tuning in. As always, Ryan, hope you're doing well, my friend. Yeah, look, I thought he won the fight, to be fair. Look, I wasn't watching it as much as I'm watching this fight, in all honesty, but I thought he won. I think that they had it 96-94 Narai ×2, and then 96-94 the other way. So, yeah.
Robbery, Ryan, robbery's an overused word. I wouldn't go as far as a robbery, but I think for me, watching it without scoring it, I would say I would have gone with Wentabi, but you can't say it was a robbery because it was a close fight either way.
Yeah. Opening up again in round 9 here, Sasaki. His pace and conditioning is fantastic, to be fair, because he's not stopped.
He's learned the lessons, I think. Well, let's wait until the final bell to say it, but the signs are that he's learned the lessons with his gas tank.
Yeah. Yeah, he's setting a fantastic pace, no doubt in that whatsoever.
Finding a home for his short hooks, both right and left, with a lot more regularity now. Sakai potentially had his big stand in the middle rounds. I'm wondering what he has left to offer here as we enter, midpoint around number 9.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not finding a home as much, is he? Let's tell the truth. He's not landing at will like he was at one point earlier.
No, but you have to give credit to Sasaki. As much as his head is still staying on center, he has a bit more movement in his legs and hips, so it's allowing him to not be connected with as much as he was.
Oh, that's a sickening body shot going in there.
And he's beckoning Sakai on now, Sasaki, saying, come on, come and hit me. But then not moving his head and getting hit. So that's not how you're meant to showboat like that.
Well, that's always a sign that you're not quite comfortable as well, isn't it? We've seen it a million times over.
Yeah, the showmanship and, the goading is a big thing that we see. And a sign of a nervous. Well, I interpret it as a sign of a fighter that's nervous and needs the bravado, as opposed to one that's fully confident.
Yeah. Oh, good shots from the ropes. I think there's a hint of Sasaki getting him out of there later. You know, Paddy will be grateful for me saying that, but I think there's a chance if he can land something meaningful over these next few rounds.
If a stoppage is going to come, it's going to come from Sasaki. Cue it going the other way. But
yeah, Sakai landing one of them uppercuts.
He looks the more likely. Sakai is tired. He's sagging from the punches a bit more now. So I'd say Sasaki getting him out of there. Paddy, you could still get lucky there, mate.
I think, yeah, look, you know, you're talking about a 23-year-old against a 34-year-old here. You know, one's fresh as a daisy coming up through the ranks. One's been in the ring nearly 50 times. That's
yeah, definitely, mate.
That's probably the difference. Anyone who's with us, we've got 80 at the moment. If you're scoring the fight, I'd be really intrigued to know how you are scoring it. I know, Luca, you like to keep an eye on the scores because, yeah, I kind of gave up. I rely on Jay and Liam for the scoring now because it just distracts me. I just like watching the fights and screaming. But yeah, I'd be interested to see how you have the fight. You know, I'd edge towards Sasaki winning if just watching the fight. Ryan said, I have a feeling Morel will be winning the fight until Benavidez stops him late. That would be very interesting. Come from behind TKO. I can't wait for it, man. I'm really looking forward to it. It's a big fight, to be fair. And PBC need it, don't they?
Look, we know that PBC.
Fair play to him as well. Fair play to Morel. He's like, what, 11-0?
Yeah. 10-0, I think.
Yeah, he hasn't had many fights, so fair play to him.
Hold on a second. Well, it's glove. I thought Sakai's eye was getting looked at, but it's just a tape going into his gloves. Sorry, mate.
Saki's 160 until yesterday, so stop his mate. Yeah, definitely, Paddy. Yeah, there's a chance on it still. I think Sakai's slowing down just a little bit. But fair play to Sakai, man, for how much of an underdog he's been. Sasaki's trying to really get him out of there, though, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. That break for 20 seconds whilst he's had some tape put on his gloves will definitely have helped him as well.
Yeah. Yeah, no, really looking forward to that. That's another. So this week we've got, you know, good UK, well, yeah, solid UK show into good, you know, solid American show. We've got the same next week. I know the Azim show's a little bit thin on the undercard, but Azim Lipinets I'm looking forward to. And obviously Benavidez Morella's got a really good undercard next week as well. So, you know, much more, you know, two back-to-back double-header weeks, which is obviously great.
Yeah, look, next weekend's offering from Boxer, and it's not Boxer bashing, it's just being honest, isn't the greatest, but there's interest from us, from a British point of view in the main event, see what Adam Azim can do, but that Benavidez Morel card is... Look, there's 2 or 3 good fights on there. It's not as good as what we're getting in Riyadh in a couple of weeks' time, but it is still a very decent card, especially by PBC standards.
Yeah, Sakai was hurt at one point there. He did a little dance.
Yeah, he's been doing it a little bit. I think tiredness is playing a massive fighter. Factor, sorry, not fighter.
Yeah, I agree, Paddy. It's going to be interesting to see where PBC are at the end of 2025. Amazon Prime, Prime not looking to renew. So the rumor mill says, will they join forces with Riyadh season? That's probably the likely eventuality, isn't it?
Mate, I think PBC going to the zone will probably be announced in time for Canelo and Crawford in September.
Yeah, and you have to think that Top Rank will be going as well, which then leaves probably the only, you know, realistic promotion right now that aren't with DAZN if those 2 deals go through as Boxer.
Look, you know, I have doubts over whether Top Rank will. Todd DeBuff seems very keen to keep them on a lineal broadcaster, which I don't understand, but he said multiple times.
I've seen the comments from Todd DeBuff, but I've also read and seen many comments from Frank Warren in the past as well. DAZN is the place to be, and I think they all know that. It's just leveraging its negotiation tactics, probably from Top Rank, if anything.
Potentially, but my caveat to that would be obviously Frank's relationship with the Saudis compared to Top Rank's relationship with the Saudis are two completely different things. So
yeah,
I understand Frank making the move a bit more because that was
definitely. Well, with Top Rank, I guess you get the Inoues, you get Keyshawn, Loma if he comes back to fight against Top. You get access to a lot of. Jalalov, he's going to be a player at heavyweight very soon. He's fighting in the next week or so. He's double Olympic champion. He's only 30 years old. For me, he's a potential heavyweight world champion.
Yeah, mate. Look, don't get me wrong. Then there's a big upside to getting Top Rank over onto DAZN. But yeah, I've just got question marks in my head, mate. I mean, Bob isn't a fan of the little app, but he's been left to talk about his mind is a bit too much recently. But something tells me they're going to try and be different. They're going to try and be the one that breaks the mold and stay, probably to their detriment. I think they might sign a 12-month rolling retainer with with ESPN for next year.
Well, ESPN's obviously a great broadcaster, aren't they? So.
And if the UFC is going to be leaving ESPN for their own streaming service, which sounds like is happening, then they're going to want to keep hold of the boxing.
Yeah. Well, look, wouldn't surprise me if the UFC did a Netflix kind of deal either.
Dana, he said in his press conference,
WWE went to Netflix, UFC and under TKO, the same umbrella. That honestly wouldn't surprise me.
Dana gave a very un-Dana-like answer when he was asked about it last week, and he said, "Look, he actually admitted to things being in the works, and which is unlike Dana."
Conor McGregor this week said that he's not allowed to fight until November. I wonder why he's not allowed to fight until November.
Can't think, mate. You got any ideas?
Yeah, no, nothing to do with a TV deal for the UFC or anything. But no. Clearly they're not allowing him to fight because they're leveraging. He's got 2 fights left on his current deal, has he?
Yeah.
2 multi-million-dollar, pay-per-views that are going to be on the line. Of course, he's being kept out of action. Seems bizarre, but it's probably a good business decision. Dana's not stupid, is he?
If the big selling point is the Madison Square Gardens card, then saving Conor for November for that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Looking unlikely we're going to get a stoppage here. Sasaki's, winning the rounds though now, in my opinion.
Yeah, Sasaki has this wide on point now. It's getting wider as the rounds go on. Would be my assessment on where we're at.
Oh, that was a beautiful body shot. He started to pick his shots better. He was too reckless before, but he's picking his punches nicer now. That's been the difference.
Yeah, as his gas tank has emptied slightly and he's had to slow down, he's also had to respect Sakai. He's actually putting in a better performance than he looks like doing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
There's massive gaps there still, and I've still got question marks about even fringe world level for him, never mind world level. But
look, at the end of the day, he is only 23, so there's not a huge rush or anything, but
he's entertaining, mate, isn't he? We want entertaining to watch.
Look, he's going to get knocked out, and he's going to knock people out. That's kind of who he is. But you can see how he's going to be beat, though, can't you? He could be outboxed by top operators, and he could probably be chinned by big punches as well.
Yeah, look, and like you say, he's 23. He's still young. He's still raw. There's still plenty of time for him to improve and change his style, etc. So it's not panic stations by any means. It's just careful maneuvering of what opportunities they give him when or what he needs.
No, that's it. 2 seconds. Sorry, Liam.
No, you're all good, mate. Got a round to go then in the co-main event before we get to see the monster back. Delayed by exactly 31 days from the Christmas Eve date with Sam Goodman. Last minute change of opponent in Ye Joon Kim. Sorry, I'm just watching Sasaki's corner man slap him around the face and into his body, sort of to try and G him up, I'm assuming. I'm not sure if after 33 minutes of some geezer trying to take my head off, I'd want my corner man slapping me around, but each to their own, I suppose. Boxers touch gloves, and we are underway in this 12th and final round. Sasaki winging punches in. It looks like he's going to look for a finish here, doesn't it, in the 12th? Doesn't want to go to the scorecards, wants to get that statement KO. Sakai looks exhausted, looks like he's just going to cover up, tie up, and aim to hear the final bell, which is an achievement in itself for the journeyman in the ring here. Good action again on the inside from both fighters. Fair play to Sasaki. He's still Sakai. He's still willing to let his hands go, even when it probably is too late now for him to get anything on the scorecards. There really is no head movement though from Sasaki. He leaves his head on the line of centre. That uppercut has been finding its home on his chin all night long, pretty much from the second round. So we're into the final 90 seconds here. Uppercuts again landing from Sakai on the inside. Sasaki, rocks again. Another uppercut, another momentary rock for Sasaki. As me and Sam have been saying, it's the gaps in his game and the gaps in his defense that are going to make him exciting to watch. He takes too many shots, he leaves himself open, but he also has the power to knock people out. It's, firefight is probably the word to use for when he gets to the top level. If he makes it there. Good overhand right from Sasaki. Sakai stunned and wobbled, but still thrown back. These two men are going to leave it all in the ring as we're inside the final 40 seconds.
Well, they missed.
Both men trading. Sakai's stunned Sasaki a couple of times. Sasaki's done the same. It's phone box war, really, this final round.
We're going to go the distance then, which didn't look too likely for the first game.
My personal highlight just before the start of the last round was Sasaki's cornerman slapping him round the face and belly as if he hadn't been slapped enough for the last 33 minutes. Full on giving him about 5 or 6 slaps.
Just testing your chin again.
Yeah, I might knock you out, maybe. I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
We are going the distance. The bell is gone. Both men still throwing punches. The referee
love it,
doing his best. Statue man in the middle to stop them from throwing punches. But that was an entertaining co-main event, mate. More entertaining than we were expecting, that's for sure.
Yeah, it was a good fight, to be fair. Credit where it's due to them.
You're probably looking at 8-4 to Sasaki, if I'm, being honest about it, with how the scorecards will probably go.
Well, judging on the scorecards tonight, you just never know.
Well, I was just about to say that, but Sakai can be proud of his effort. He's given a gallant effort, and I'm sure he's probably given himself another opportunity on a big card just for the performance he's given him.
Yeah. Well, look, he's a perfect opponent for and like, what did I say at the first bell? If he can take him 12 rounds and he goes and he gets the decision, his team will be thankful for that. Jin Sasaki, and looking probably like it's going to happen. He's been in an 11-round fight twice before, lost one and won one by stoppage, but that's the first time he's ever fought for 12 rounds in his pro career.
Yes, it's only going to benefit him as his career moves into the trajectory that's been spoken about, that's for sure. So can only benefit him. We have the Japanese announcer in the ring. I'm not going to try and understand Japanese, so we'll just wait to see whose arms raised here.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, Jimmy Leonard does all the Inoue cards he does.
Handsomely paid for it as well, I would imagine. place this could go in. Sasaki takes the decision.
Yeah, look, right decision.
Unanimous decision. Okay, so it was unanimous. I wondered, looking at his face, if it was split, but it's unanimous.
Feels like the right decision, to be fair.
Yeah, I'm not saying for a second Sakai won that fight. He gave a gallant performance, but he was probably... I'd imagine that was an 8-4 fight. If anyone can tell us what the scorecards were, that would be great. But I'd imagine it's an 8-4 type of fight.
Just trying to find them.
Yeah, but we're both doing the same thing. We're both having a look for these scorecards, aren't we? Let's see if we find...
No, I can't find it, but really good fight, and the right winner for me, for sure. Paddy said, I hope the guy shredding the guitars there for Inoue's walkout. Yeah, that'll be the one, definitely. A lot of people tweeting about that, saying how good a fight it was. It felt it, didn't it?
Yeah, mate, it was a good fight, and it takes two to dance. So let's give Sakai his credit, because he asked questions of Sasaki, and we saw exactly, what he's made of in some respects. He showed that he can come through a little bit of adversity, like he had to do in the middle rounds there, and he came back to win on the cards, which is the sign of a good fighter. If they can come through a gut check, then they're on the right path, aren't they? And 23 years old, as we said, plenty of time for him to improve and add a bit of cuteness to his style and not look so rugged. But another step on the ladder. Let's see what the plans are for this talent this year.
Yeah, definitely. Let's not push him too quickly. I think that's the direction that they need to go. But they've got a talent on their hands. There's no doubt he can punch, and he's exciting. So we'll see how it plays out for him. No, still can't find the cards.
I'm getting a load of Japanese rising, but I can't find the actual scorecards, which is a bit annoying. There is one place to look, but then I'm going to
No, I'll give up on it. But yeah, Inoue versus Kim is going to be coming up soon. One thinks that doesn't go 12 rounds. I'm just gonna float that out there, but never say never. I guess Kim's talked a pretty good game up until now, it has to be said. But talking it and doing it are completely different things, as we well know.
I've got the score. Sorry, mate. I've got the scorecards from this fight.
Go on.
117, 111, 118, 110, 116, 112.
The first two feel a little bit wide.
116, 112 was my scorecard.
8-4 sounds about right. 116, 112. But look, they're not horrible cards, are they? Let's be honest.
And yeah, you've just touched on it. I mean, I've gone first round stoppage for the monster. I think he's not going to play with his food and make a statement. That's the path I've been on all week, and I'm going to stick with it, as we're now 20 minutes probably away from seeing a new way.
Yeah, I can't imagine that they're going to fill for too long here. I think at 11 o'clock, so 10 minutes. I think we could be seeing Kim's entrance.
I think the Americans at 4:30 in the morning are going to be hoping there isn't too much fill here. I think there
is. Yeah. That's a fair.
I do love listening to the American commentators on these cards when they're doing it from remotely from Vegas and they're moaning about the time. It's like, us Brits do this.
Yeah.
Lads, come on.
That's been our life for the last how many years?
Too long, mate. Too long.
Sasaki looks like he's singing.
He's doing something, and he looks a bit emotional. That's where I'm going to go with it.
He's got plenty of belts on him anyway. A few Asia Pacific trinkets. Yeah, and then Inoue Kim then. So Kim coming in as a late replacement for Mr. Sam Goodman, who can't buy a break right now. 21-2, never been stopped in his career, but you know, when you look at the opposition he's been in against, you know, he lost an 8-rounder just over a year ago.
Mate, there's not a lot there. Let's call this for what it is. The only advantage is we are seeing a Inoue fight instead of him pulling himself off of the date completely. But yeah, we're not getting anything spectacular here. That's me being honest about it. I fully expect Inoue to come through this emphatically, not play with his food, and make a big statement. That's where I'm at with this fight.
Well, yeah, I want to see that. That's where we're at. If it'd be a bit weird if it doesn't play out like that. But look, TJ Dehenny, the fight wasn't classic Inoue, was it? And you know, obviously he got the stoppage after a while, but Dehenny was being a little
by injury. I know he was breaking Dehenny down, but Dehenny stopped because of his back injury rather than punches.
Yeah, he was making life awkward for Inoue, but he came in with that game plan. You know, I don't know how much ambition was behind that game plan. But, you know, that's not the way to beat Inoue. I don't think anyone's going to... Ramblers in the house, thanks for joining us. I know, mate.
I'm not sure how you come to that conclusion. You're a braver man than me.
Could retire yourself on that, Rambler.
Straight from the JFT books, the book of plucking it out of us. Yeah, I hope they're not going to feel too much here. I mean, they're already showing the highlights from the last fight, the fight we've just sat watching for 36 minutes. So
yeah, we've had back-to-back decisions, to be fair. So,
yeah, they can't be. Look, there'll be a little promo. They'll probably talk about Barancic and Keyshawn Davis again because they've done that earlier, which is another flipping fantastic scrap we've got coming up in 3 weeks' time.
Yeah, I can't wait for that one. There's a decent fight on the card there, isn't there, as well?
I was looking at that card earlier. Keyshawn Davis.
Jared Anderson, I'm sure, is on the card.
5 seconds. Yeah,
I'm sure.
You got Xander Zayas and Jared Anderson on that card.
Yeah, Xander Zayas, yeah. And then what's the co-main event?
The co-main event is Xander Zayas.
Oh, is it? Okay.
And you've also got Abdullah Mason as well.
Abdullah Mason. Yeah, okay. That's a good watch then on a Friday night as well.
I was going to say, Friday night card is not a bad card. And Xander Zayas' opponent, Slawless Spoomer, is also 20-0. So you've got 2 20-0 fighters in that co-main. Right.
I'll be watching, definitely.
If they're showing the camp life, I'd say we've got about 15 minutes, mate.
What are they showing? Oh, right, yeah.
The camp life that they put on YouTube and stuff. So I'd say we've got about 15 minutes.
Yeah, 3D Pez in the house. Hope you're well, my friend.
I'm going to make myself a cuppa quickly, mate, if that's right.
Yeah, no, that's all right. Yeah, we'll be back on the ring walks for Inoue versus Kim, anyone that's with us. So, we'll see you very shortly, maybe 5-10 minutes time. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Thanks to Liam for coming on. Good fight.